Good Tuesday afternoon. It is April the 3rd, 2018. This is an updated video concerning the threat for severe weather this afternoon and evening. Off to our northeast right now, we're looking at current radar. Severe weather already beginning to unfold across portions of east central Illinois, west central, and central Indiana. This is closer to the warm front, so there is a lot of rain, a lot of convection in that area, so CAPE and energy values are not really all that high, but we do have some areas of sunshine beginning to break out in portions of southern Indiana. That is helping to destabilize the atmosphere there as these storms right here that are forming begin to move off to the north and east towards that warm front. A lot of spin along that front is going to help produce possibly some tornadic storms in portions of that state later on this afternoon. Closer towards our region, nothing on radar right now. We did have some morning light rain showers beginning to move out of the area. Nothing all that significant that was expected, and it really didn't affect the destabilization of the atmosphere. But off to our west, you notice we have some broken lines of showers, and eventually these will become thunderstorms and supercells as they grow and mature across central and eastern Missouri. They will approach our region this afternoon and evening. Between us and the cold front right now, we don't have much going on. There is some sunshine beginning to break out. This is helping to make the atmosphere even more unstable than it already is, and we'll look at just how unstable it is at the current moment. Notice where you see black, that is showing where sunshine is forming, where the visible imagery is actually reflecting it off of the surface of the earth, but where you see white, it's reflecting it off of clouds, so that comes back as white. And so we're looking at visible imagery right now from the satellites up in space, and they are showing that we are looking at an extensive amount of cloud cover, but also some growing concern for more sunshine as we go into the afternoon hours. Notice that we have some areas of thicker clouds, but we also have areas of more widespread sunshine that are also breaking out. Just to show you what you're looking at right here is the cold front, that very discrete line right here, and you begin to go even further off to the north and east, and we begin to see more cloudiness, and here are those lines of thunderstorms beginning to break out that will not affect our region in southern Illinois moving off to the north and east. Looking at what the current destabilization of the atmosphere is right now, notice that CAPE values are already exceeding 1,200 joules, and that we do have several other severe weather parameters such as the shear, the helicity values also on the increase. These red areas, the red boxed in areas, this is a really cool graph right here. These red boxed areas are basically the effectiveness of severe weather. So if the red bar, which is indicating the current condition, is in that red area, that is showing that we do have enough of that particular parameter or severe weather factor for severe weather. So this is a pretty cool graph right here. This is showing basically the threat or the effectiveness for all tornadoes. And then we look at possibly significant tornadoes. Notice that those red bars move up along the scale because it requires more of that particular factor for significant tornadoes to happen. We look at discrete supercell thunderstorms. That is something that is a concern for this afternoon and later on this evening. And we also notice that we're fairly close to this. All of these 6 ingredients are on the increase. What our major concern is for damaging winds along a line of thunderstorms where QLCS tornadoes could form. They are very short-lived but can do extensive damage and are very hard to warn on. So this severe weather line of thunderstorms that moves through this evening, that's something to keep in mind. They will be moving off very fast to the south and east, close to 60 miles per hour at times is how fast these storms can be moving. So little time to seek shelter and little time to be aware of what's going on. So make sure you have your weather radio on. If you receive alerts through your phone or through your TV, make sure that you have other ways. Sometimes technology during the event of an outbreak is not always reliable, especially if power or signal goes out. So make sure that you keep that in mind. And notice our isobars. These are the black lines. Our winds are increasing not only at the lower levels but also at the upper levels of the atmosphere. Our shear is increasing, helping to push these storms along. And here's that cold front right here, that broken line of showers and thunderstorms, and it will begin to move off to the east and it will begin to mature. And that's when we take you to the Futurecast radar, where it does look like once we get towards around the 1 p.m. hour, we're beginning to see more of that line beginning to form in parts of central Missouri. And then notice as we get closer towards the 4 p.m. hour, we're beginning to see that line approaching western Kentucky, approaching southern Illinois, the boot heel of Missouri, and we begin to see some more discrete supercells possibly forming just ahead of that line. And then once we get towards the 5 o'clock, eventually the 6 o'clock hour, notice how mature these storms look on the HUR guidance. These supercells, these hook to the storms, this is our concern right now. It did look like at one point this was going to be in the form of a line by that time frame, and we would just be looking at mostly damaging winds. But the HRRR guidance has really been consistent today with showing that this is going to be discrete supercell thunderstorms, and then it will eventually form off into a line to our east right here. This would be for the 9 o'clock hour this evening. Notice they're already out of our region, and by midnight, we're already looking at this entire line of storms approaching portions of Georgia. So that's how fast these storms are going to be moving along. Little time to seek shelter, and that is why you need to be aware of what's going on and be aware of what the atmosphere is in control of this afternoon. It's not going to take much for these storms to spin. This line will be moving through a lot of rotation along the leading edge of this line of storms, and any storms that form ahead of this line, and those are the ones that are going to have the most potential for tornadic activity. And then once the storm forms into a line, a more congealed and more organized area of convection, we will begin to see that threat for damaging winds increase as we go later on into the evening. So stay safe. Make sure that you tell your friends and neighbors what the concern is for this afternoon. Mostly hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes are the main three concerns, and of course heavy rain is another concern for the later part of this afternoon and early on this evening.